podcast. I'm Cindy, and this is episode 6. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram and Facebook as Knitting Artisan. Just be aware when you look me up on Facebook, there is more than one Knitting Artisan. So just look for the one that has my logo and you'll know you have found me. So this is episode 6, and it's been a while since I've seen you. I've had a really busy summer, and if you saw my community post, you saw that the last thing that came up was my brother had a quadruple bypass surgery. So he is healing well, and he came through the surgery great. However, he's just really tired and sore. It's going to be a long road ahead getting healed. The doctor said it would be about a year before he's feeling normal again. But my brother Eric, hi Eric, I hope you're doing well. He wasn't able to make it on the podcast just yet. So in the future, Eric, I'm holding you to it. I expect you to stop by and hang out with me and my knitting friends, and you'll love to meet him. He's a funny, great guy. But he was just too tired. And while he was hanging with me and convalescing at my house, he was there about a week and a half and knit him a couple of hipster beanies. And so I got to get some good pictures of Eric in those hats. It's been such a busy summer. One of the fun things that happened was I had a massive water leak under the house. So that took a while to get repaired and tended to. That was an ordeal. And if you remember, I live in a very old farmhouse. So things break, but it's a wonderful house. I love where I live. It's nice and rural and quiet and perfect for an introverted knitter like me. So anyway, let's move on into a few of the things I've been making. This first one is something I knit for a friend. This is the Cecropia Cowl. It's a beautiful cowl that has this lovely color work design of this beautiful butterfly. This is knit in Malabrigo Arroyo. So this is their DK weight yarn, and I use natural undyed, and this lovely bronze color is glitter, and it's going to be nice and warm. It's extremely soft, and I'll show you my floats. So these are what my floats look like. I like to catch my floats about every 3 or 4 stitches so that there aren't any long floats that can get caught. And my friend that's going to be wearing this, so she won't have to worry about catching something and causing the tension on the outside to mess up. But this was a fairly fast knit, and I highly recommend it. I'll have to look up who the designer was. I'm actually out of town. As you can see, I'm in a different location, and my sister and son and I were in a cabin elsewhere in Tennessee, so I don't have all of my show notes. So I will locate who the designer is and put that on the screen. I have Lisa from Knit All the Yarn podcast to thank for this. Every week she shows her beautiful Coziest Memories blanket by Kemper Wray. She recently finished one for her daughter. Her daughter's birthday was in August, and I'm not sure if she's gotten started on the next one, but after seeing that every week, it just lit a fire under me. So this is what I've been working on in my spare time. So I treated myself to a subscription to row 1 minis, and the first row that you see down at the bottom, those are all from row 1 minis, and then the second and third rows are from yarns I had in my stash. And then this top row here, this is also more from row 1 minis. I don't remember the dyer. And I'm using my Signature Needle Arts needles. It's too bad they've gone out of business. I love her straight needles and double pointed needles. This is a 2.25 millimeter US 1, you know, just the little 7-inch. This is perfect for knitting this little blanket. And I've also received the latest shipment from Row 1 Yarns. So if you also get Row 1 Yarns and you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to see what October's colors are, just look away now. I'm about to show you. So fair warning. So this is the next shipment from Row 1 Yarns. That's 6 of the colors. Really pretty. And the ones on this side are more vibrant. So there's this one, there, and this one has, it's a tonal with, looks like some yellow in there on a nice cream. This month's dyer is Twisted Ambitions yarns, because you also get a paper telling you all about the dyer and what they have to say about their inspiration and their colorways. So the dyer behind Twisted Ambitions yarn is Ross Taylor. And he says most of all, if not all of his inspiration comes from the colors that come to him when he closes his eyes. And also from music or movies and TV shows that he enjoys, sometimes nature. And he dyes everything in his studio in Owassa, Oklahoma. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But this month is a 75-25 merino nylon blend. And so I look forward to putting those colors in my blanket. Also, with your shipment of Row 1 Yarns, you get some stitch markers and some candy. This month's candy was candy corn, and I gave it to my sister. So please don't hate. I'm not a candy corn fan, so it was nice to not be tempted by this month's candy. So my mother loves it, and circus peanuts too. I can't say I'm a fan, so she doesn't have me fighting her over the candy corn and circus peanuts. Anyway, but the stitch marker, I received a light bulb stitch marker, a silver one, and then this month's fancy little progress keeper is a broom, and it's adorable. So the next acquisition I'll show you, since we've just segued nicely into acquisitions, you will have seen in the intro the things I'm going to be talking about, and these project bags by Lacy of Little Robin Cottage. I've talked about her before, and her bags do not disappoint. I cannot overstate how sturdy and thick her project bags are, and they're just absolutely beautiful. She chooses the most lovely fabrics. I just love this, and I'm tending to, I really like these drawstring bags of late, and I like zippered pouches as well, but I purchased out of her drawstring bags, and there's a nice pouch here. This little D-ring could come in handy if you want to be sure to loop some stitch markers, or maybe thread your yarn through it if you want to keep colors separated. And then the bags, it's a box bottom, so it's nice and wide. And then the inside of this one, she selected this lovely green fan print. I just really love how country this looks. And this is the next one. I purchased 5 of her lovely bags. It's just so simple and delicate. I love this little fabric. And then on the inside of this one, she chose this lovely teal with these little moths inside there. See if I can open that up a little better. It's really sweet. And I got a pink one with glasses. And the fabric she chose on the inside are these little flamingos. So cute. You can see some elephants and trees and turtles. Let's see, what is that? Maybe a deer? I even see a little You can see a lion right there, and this lovely navy fabric on the inside. It's looking a little dark in this lighting, but lovely print on the inside as well with that one. And then the last one I purchased is this. Aren't those little flowers so delicate and lovely? And then the inside here is this beautiful fabric. So the other things that I've been working on and knitting up for you, I wanted to locate some patterns that are free patterns and that were easy for beginners. So these would be great for gift giving. So if you are a knitter and you want to knit something for friends and family for the upcoming holidays, and I'm gonna, again, since I'm out of town, I don't have my hands on the names of these patterns, so I'll look those up and I'll display them on the screen. But I found this really, I think this is Straightforward Cowl is the name of it, but it's a really simple cowl pattern, and all you do with this is you're just knitting in garter stitch this really easy fabric. You're just knitting a strip. The edges are they're I-cord edges, so that it gives it a nice edge. You know, there's no curling at the edges. So from an overhead view, I wanted to show you what makes this such an easy gift to make for someone that you can have knit up quickly. As you can see, you're knitting a shorter strip of fabric, so instead of knitting a scarf that's 5 or 6 feet long, you're knitting one that's about 30 inches long. And as I awkwardly work it around, you can see how you seam one end to the edge of the other end, and then in short amount of time you have a really nice gift. And I had enough left over from that I knit this easy, once again a free pattern, an easy little headband ear warmer. So this would take absolutely no time, and it's a lovely gift. And then, you know, for someone who maybe doesn't want to wear a hat and mess up their hair, this is a perfect little gift that you can have done in no time. Perfect for teachers and someone like that you want to give a nice handmade gift to. Also found a bulky weight hat. So the technique that you would need to know how to do is to be able to knit in the round, which is not hard at all. This is a simple, beautiful, bulky weight hat. You can have this knit up in a day. And again, these are all free patterns. Then I found a fingerless mitt pattern. I think this only used about 55 yards of bulky weight yarn. This is Malabrigo Arroyo, which is a single ply bulky Mastava, I believe is the colorway. It's this lovely cross between this olive green and mustard. And once again, this was so fast to knit up, and people love fingerless mitts. So it's just enough to keep their hands warm in the winter time, but then their fingers are still free. So you're not fiddling with a thumb gusset, so that's what makes this really easy. What you do is you knit this piece flat, so you end up with a piece of knitting that looks like this, and then when you bind off, then leave a tail so that you can you're gonna sew together about an inch down, and then seam it together about this far up. This pattern is a free pattern, and the designer has a video tutorial that links right within the pattern. I found it on Ravelry, and it takes you to her website. She does accept donations if you want to contribute, but this pattern is free. And it's very helpful that there is a video tutorial that goes along with it. But people love slippers, and this was fairly easy. You start out, the hardest part that might be confusing if you're a new knitter is you start out knitting this little tip, and you're doing increases along each edge. You knit this triangle. The sides actually get seamed together after you've knit everything. But at that point, then you cast on a number of stitches on each side, and you knit garter stitch in the middle and kind of like a ribbing along each side until you keep coming down here, and then she tells you how to decrease around the toe. You leave a long tail, and with that you seam up to a certain point, and then you seam these edges. And these are really nice, cozy little slippers for someone to wear at home. And once again, it's a free pattern. This is what it looks like when you take it off your needles. You start down here, and you do increase a little bit till you get to here. One part, it really isn't hard. You're doing a backward cable cast on here. The pattern tells you how many stitches, and then you knit back across, and then you cast on these stitches here, and then you continue forward in the pattern. And when you get to the end, you decrease, and you draw your tail through the end stitches. You take your tail, and the pattern shows you that this pattern actually has a video tutorial. It's only about 10 minutes long to walk you through some of the more challenging parts of the pattern, but you seam it together about 2/3 of the way up. And then once you do that, you bring this up at the heel, and then you seam these together. This has been a really brief episode. It's been long overdue. I've been wanting to connect with you for a long time. I want to say welcome to all my new subscribers. I'm so excited to have you here. And if you haven't heard yet, I do have a giveaway planned as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to find out more about that, go back and watch episode 2, and you can see the beautiful yarn and a couple other goodies that I'm going to include with that. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I'll tell you what I want to know from all of you. Do you like candy corn and circus peanuts? Put it down in the comments. I'm afraid it's going to be controversial. Until next time, happy knitting. Go make something beautiful. Bye.